So now we have a course open and we're going to add some sorting functionality, meaning we have 3 lessons and we will be able to change the order of the lessons. Now for this, we're going to use the jQuery UI library. So jQuery UI, let's see. And here we have a draggable, a droppable, a sortable, most importantly, functionality. So it's going to work like this. We'll have a list of lessons and we will be able to click them and sort them, and it will be persisted in our database. So let's add it. First of all, we're going to add jQuery UI to our application. So we're going to switch the server off. And we're going to write yarn add jQuery. And yarn add jQuery UI dist. So when these 2 JavaScripts are loaded, we will also add them to our application.js. Like this. Okay. Now let's check if it works. So we will view the source code that we have here. Take the sortable class. Take the script function, copy it to Humble, and paste it in our course show to see if the jQuery UI is actually loaded. So we're going to just have this code. Now we will restart our server. And we will see if sortable is actually initialized by our application. And we just copied the sortable list from the example. So we restart. Now it is compiling, so it can take quite a while, as you see. Okay. Now, did I paste it in the right place? Is it, no, I pasted it in lessons show. So we'll paste it to courses show. Let's go to our views. Courses show right on the bottom. Okay, we have 7 items. Let's try dragging them. Let's try restarting. It doesn't work yet. So as it doesn't work, we will try moving the JavaScript into our application.js. We'll remove it from here. Go into application.js. We'll add it right here. And this must be okay. We'll just remove the body tag and refresh. And voila, these items are sortable. Now we're going to add sortable to our lessons, and we're going to make it persistent in our database. So we're going to remove this sortable tag, and we're going to our application.js. Now, here we are going to use the following code. So basically, after 2 turbolinks are loaded, we're going to call the sortable method from jQuery UI, and we're going to call it through this class. So we're going to make lessons sortable by adding sortable in our courses show. So here we have our list group item. Now, is it courses show? It's lessons show. Just a moment. So in our list group where we have the list of our preview lessons, we're going to add lesson sortable class. Next, we are taking the item and updating it with the row order position. And we're using the post method. Now we need to whitelist this row order position in our lessons controller. So we're going here to the bottom and whitelisting row order position. As well, we will need to create a new method to have our row order position updated. So it's going to be a sort method. Now we're going to grab the current course. So we'll take this current course and the current lesson. Like this. Now we'll take the lesson without the tag. And we're going to have this action work only on authorize lesson update, then we are going to have this lesson updated with the lesson params. So most importantly with the row order position. So we're going to have lesson update attributes, lesson params, like this. And we're going to render body nil. So like no action has been performed for the page not to refresh. And actually we'll make it not lesson update attributes, but just lesson update with the lesson params. And here we will trigger it on edit. Looks fine. Now we need to add the sort method to our routes. So we're going to our application. Here we have our courses. Inside we have nested lessons. And in lessons, we are going to also put the sort method. So we will put sort like this. Now we have our controller set up. We put the new row order position to the permitted lesson params. We added the sort method and whitelisted it in our routes. So now let's check if we can actually sort our lessons. We'll refresh the page, we'll grab a lesson, and the sorting functionality works. But as you see, it isn't persisted yet. Now, for it to be persisted, we also need to connect this JavaScript that we added with our show method. So we are going to give to put all the lessons in a content tag. So we give the ID of this current lesson ID, and we pass the update URL to cause lesson sort path. So to this path to put sort, and it leads to this controller. So it lets us update the row order of our lesson. Okay, let's try now. We'll put add jQuery UI to the end and refresh. It doesn't work yet. Now, going back to this method, we must actually look for the lesson not by the params ID, but by the params lesson ID. In this particular case. So you see, this sort method is slightly different from all the others. Now let's try once again. So we'll put add jQuery UI to the end and refresh. It doesn't work yet. Now let's go back. And it looks like, yes, we're authorizing at lesson, but we have our lesson defined, but not at lesson. Let's try once more. Again, we'll put add sorting functionality to the bottom, and you see it works. So we can put style into the bottom, whatever, and when we refresh the page, the sorting is persisted. Fantastic. Now we'll just make it look a bit more beautiful. So going to the sortable jQuery UI examples, we can find different classes that we can add. So I've chosen couple. Right here, I will add the cursor grabbing so that whenever we select a lesson, there will be a grabbing hand shown. Then the grabbing will be 10 pixels from the left. Then there will be a placeholder to the place where we are actually pulling the item. And we are going to define the placeholder in our application as CSS. So the placeholder will look like this, UI state highlight. So the height will be 3 and the background color will be yellow. And let's check if it works. Now it's loading and compiling. Give it a moment. So add jQuery UI will put it to the end, and you see that we have a grabbing hand and that we have a yellow background to the place where we want to pull it. So now let's refresh. And it is persisted. Fantastic. Now let's try editing the order of the lessons in a course that doesn't belong to us. So we go to this course, we try changing the sorting order, and when we refresh, we get that you're not authorized to perform this action because in our controller we said that the only the user who can edit this lesson can change the order. So basically, we added the jQuery sortable to our application, and we made the lessons persist after being sorted. It's fantastic. Now, how did we do it? Once again, we added our jQuery and jQuery UI to our application JS and to Yarn. Then, in our view, we added a content tag div so that we give it an ID when we are editing, and in our application JS, we initialize the sortable method after turbolinks are loaded, and we gave it a couple of styling classes, and then we put the post method to the item that we are editing. Then in the lessons controller, we define the row order position in our lesson params, and we added a sort method that we whitelisted in our roots. Inside the lessons, we added put sort. And in our application CSS, we added some additional styling. So that's it.